job has been done. No Christian Pulisic, no problem for the USA.
We dictated the tempo, and really it was just us in control all night.
A really smart, important performance from the U.S. to get out of that with 3 points.
We have a young group, you know, and they created some excitement in this country. After the 2 games they showed, I think we own some respect in this tournament.
I mean, this is a big deal now. Australia never gave you a feeling that they can really score a goal or even 2 because the US didn't allow them.
Get excited. Go crazy. Take advantage of it. Enjoy it while you can.
Here we go. Now we're ready to jump at the bandwagon, Kay.
American always said this as a coach, the ability to suffer. And that's what the U.S. men's national team did, and it was a good, hard-fought 3 points. I see clear advantages that this U.S. men's national team has to a lot of teams in this tournament.
Who would have said that you start in this World Cup with 2 wins right away, convincing wins right away? Anything, absolutely anything is possible.
I think we kept our cool and, you know, it was a really professional performance from us.
For us, it's how can we give more and more and more.
That confidence, that belief, hey, we can dream, and we're hosting the World Cup, so let's dream big.
Dream big, and that's exactly what the nation is doing right now, because after 2 very convincing wins over Paraguay and Australia for the United States, it has everyone believing they can go far in this tournament. There's a look at the Group D standings. They have not only topped the group, they have clinched first place, and they are going into the round of 32 with a game to spare. Let's welcome in the one and only Jeremy Schaap, who is joining us right now. Jeremy, you've been hanging out with the U.S. men's national team over the last couple of weeks. But before we speak about them specifically, I kind of want to just get the vibe of the entire World Cup, because you, of course, went to the '94 World Cup. You've been to other World Cups as well. There was so much criticism and questions about the USA, Mexico, and Canada hosting this World Cup and whether or not fans would turn out or not. So from you having your boots on the ground, what do you feel like the buzz has been like in the country?
Well, I think it's building, right? You know, maybe a few days before the start of the tournament, people are like, what's going on? Why isn't anybody talking about the World Cup? People are talking about the Knicks, certainly in the Northeast, where I am from. But, you know, Americans love a big event. They love the best. The World Cup is the best teams in the world. It's the biggest event in the world, not just sports event, right? It's the biggest event in the world. So just like '94, when fewer Americans knew anything about soccer, you know, couldn't name any of the top players in the world, the average American sports fan, to now, 32 years later, I knew they would start embracing it. And when you have a U.S. team that's performing, that's won 2 games, its first 2 group stage games, and done it, as you said, in convincing fashion, then it's just going to be amplified. You know, the progression in terms of the excitement is going to be geometric. And you can see it on the streets. You can see it in the watch parties. People are rallying behind this team, and it's just going to continue to grow and grow and grow. And especially now that we know, you know, the U.S. has won its group. They're going to be playing in San Francisco in, 10, 11 days. It's just going to keep building.
It's going to keep building indeed. Ale, you feel like all of that pre-tournament negativity is gone?
Well, it wasn't coming from me. I'm a big on positivity,
You
Alexis.
truly are, Ale.
All I can tell you is that if you're a United States fan, be excited, not just because it's a big event, not just because it's a big moment in the World Cup. Be excited because your team has been, so far, one of the best teams in this competition. So you have a reason to be excited. We're not just making it up. On the field, in terms of performances, there haven't been many teams that have been better than the United States so far. Again, we'll see how long it lasts. But ride this wave, baby. Ride it out, ride this high, and see how far it takes you. This team right now is playing at a very high level.
Nadim, you're feeling positive? You feeling the U.S. vibes?
Yeah, absolutely am. And obviously the first game against Paraguay was the one which has probably brought the most headlines in terms of how dominant that they were. But from a footballing standpoint, I like the second game as well, because this was playing against an Australia team that obviously had their limitations, but they wanted to fight. And the US men's national team were like, okay, that's fine, we've got that as well. I think some of the football they've played has been good, but the great determination, you can see the speed that they have, the tenacity that they have, and some players rounding into really, really good form. So I think it's really positive, the position they're in. I think, Ali, you're right. They've played some of the best football of any team in this tournament. When you think about the context of what that means, talking about Spain's, Portugal's, and so on, but the positivities around the United States at this moment in time when they're hosting, and I think maybe Jeremy would agree here, the significance of this tournament is that everybody's more connected now. So you're seeing all those different groups of people around the country celebrating together. But you're also seeing the cultures being brought by, say, the Scots in Boston, say the Dutch yesterday when they were in Toronto and so on. And that you want to feel a part of your team, part of your collective. And the team right now are backing it. So, it's a perfect time to support.
Yeah, Jeremy, I know you've been with the U.S. men's national team, but what do you make of some of the images of all the other fan bases that you've seen around the country?
It's great stuff. I mean, this is what you want, right? You want communities embracing the fans who are coming from around the world. You want the enthusiasm. This is a different kind of World Cup as well. Remember the last time he was here in the U.S. 32 years ago, it's not only that the culture here, the soccer culture here was much less mature, it was half as big a tournament. There were 24 teams, not 48. And of course, it's spread out now as well with Canada and Mexico. But we're talking about, a vast tournament, fan bases from all over the world showing up in strength despite some of the difficulties. And of course, there have been, visa issues and that kind of stuff and processing issues. But once the tournament gets started, once the teams start playing and you get upsets and you get some of the minnows playing well, you can just see the excitement growing and growing and growing, and it's fun to watch.
Now, Jeremy, of course, you've been with the U.S. men's national team. You've seen firsthand exactly the good, I would say, brotherhood and vibes this squad has. But if you compare it to U.S. squads of old who are kind of held in lore, especially to what they were able to do back in '94, how would you compare this team to them?
Oh, it's totally different. As you guys know, I mean, we're talking about so many talented individual players playing in some of the biggest clubs and best leagues around the world. The question wasn't going to be whether really this is the most talented team ever assembled for the USMNT. I think that was clear. It was whether they would gel, whether Mauricio Pochettino's strategies would work. And certainly the proof of concept we've seen in the first couple of games is this is more than anyone could have even hoped for. The most optimistic USMNT fans and observers didn't think they would dominate the way they dominated against Paraguay. And then again, a strong performance against Australia to secure a spot in the knockout stage and ultimately to win the group. This is all going about as well as it can be going, especially when you consider that the U.S.'s best player has only played one of the four halves. So, it's a little bit surreal, right? As somebody who's been watching the USMNT for 36, 37 years pretty consistently, we're not accustomed to feeling this way. Consecutive multi-goal wins at the World Cup. They hadn't won a game at the World Cup by more than a single goal in 24 years. So I'm still kind of adjusting myself to this new reality, and I think a lot of people are.
24 years, that just happens to be my age. Just kidding. But Ale, we just had a look at that graphic there.
Not mine.
We just had a look at that graphic there, and now the USA as well know where they'll be playing. At least they will be West Coast based up until and if they make a semifinal, when then things move to either Texas and then, of course, to the East Coast, to New Jersey and New York. So this could be a very ideal path. How far do you think they can go?
Right. It's ideal right now. It's ideal in the sense that you already won the group, and so therefore it allows Mauricio Pochettino to set his team up for success, knowing full well that the game against Turkey to close out the group is a glorified training session. And so you can rotate the team. You can give minutes to other players. You can make a decision about Christian Pulisic and what his status is. If he's not close to 100% fitness, or if he's not ready to go, you don't play him, you don't take a risk. But if he is fit and the medical staff tells you, you know what, he is ready to go, give him 15, 20 minutes at the end of the match so that he can get some competitive minutes, so he can get competitive touches. Because if you do the math, and Jeremy just mentioned there, if you project forward and you're looking into the round of 32 and you do the math, Christian Pulisic, his first game would have been 2.5 weeks away from that knockout match. Yeah, you go backwards and then you go forwards, and you don't want your star to be out and missing out on activity, out on the field, competitive touches for 2.5 weeks. And so therefore, if he is fit and he is ready to go, give him a few minutes against Turkey. Again, this is the flexibility that you have earned because of performance on the field, and now it's up to Mauricio Pochettino to see how he deals with what is a very successful event so far.
So far. All right. Well, what we have seen from the USA so far, Jeremy, has been very impressive, which is why everybody is jumping on the bandwagon. People are believing, but realistically, because we know you're such a respected journalist, how far do you think this team can go? Tell me what your head says and what your heart says.
Look, what I'll say is I think based on what we've seen, right, the ceiling, we all have to believe whatever ceiling we had for this team before Paraguay was elevated, right? I mean, I still need to see these guys beat a top club from Europe, from South America, with all due respect to Paraguay and Australia, right? I mean, the four friendlies this year, they beat Senegal, but they lost to Germany. They lost to Belgium. They lost to Portugal. I know it's a different lineup. So many things are different. They've got momentum. They're playing this tournament at home. If people thought, look, getting to the round of 16 would be acceptable, I think now anything short of the quarters would be disappointing. Then beyond that, let's face it, it would all be a dream.
It would be a dream indeed.
America, baby.
America, baby. Alain's loving it. He's on the bandwagon indeed. Natum, not so much. All right, Jeremy Schaap, thank you so much for joining us. It's an absolute pleasure, and I'm pretty sure we'll catch up with you another time to see exactly how far the USA can take us on this bandwagon. All right, well, make sure to tune into ESPN FC tonight. This is